Heyo guys, what's up? It's me, Fang. In this video, I'm going to be bringing you some Black Ops 2 gameplay on Kill Confirmed. I do not exactly know what this map is called, and I know what everyone's thinking. Oh my god, this is not FIFA 13. And I do understand I do have a new 11,500 or so subs that I've had added in the last month, and none of you have ever probably remotely seen me play Call of Duty unless you showed up to my streams and you noticed like on late night streams that I've decided to play some Call of Duty, and that's what I do. And just in case you didn't know, this isn't something I'm going to do all the time, but I like to throw it in here now and then just to do a little switch up, give y'all a little bit something different because you're used to seeing FIFA so much, and I throw in some Call of Duty gameplay. I started out as a Call of Duty player. I am a huge Call of Duty fan. The series I love. 2007, it's what got me into competitive gaming and playing online and whatnot, and just playing people in general. Before, I only played like Fight Night Round 3, and I was just enthralled with that, and that's all I would ever get near. And then I tried a little bit of like maybe Resistance Fallen Man and Warhawk for shooters, and I was like, I've got to try Call of Duty. I went out, I bought a PS3. I was sharing a PS3 at the time. I went out and I bought a PS3 and I got it, and I became addicted to where I played all the time. And so this is like the main game that I started with, that I'm known for, I guess, that I was, you know, really big into, and I did play competitively. I traveled for, and then I got into FIFA. And so every now and then I like to throw it back in and just, you know, play a little Call of Duty and show you guys what I've been up to in the Call of Duty aspect. Black Ops 2 is the newest game that's come out. I do really enjoy this game. I see very few flaws, maybe some lag problems. But anyway, it's pretty fun. So in this video, I decided I didn't want to make it completely boring. I'm not going to talk about all what I'm using. You can see what I'm using. You more than likely have played the game. I get some pretty high kill streaks. There's not like a huge one that I think that you can go for, which kind of sucks, so I can't be nuking noobs. But I thought, hey, might as well try to make it interesting, and I am going to tell a ghost story. And I know what you're thinking, ooh, ghost story, Fangbanger. And yes, I do have ghost stories. Just so you know, I believe in ghosts. I have totally seen one. I think that they are legit. I don't know exactly what they are. I don't know what they have to do with religion and all that type of stuff, but I do know that I do believe in them, and I have seen one. And so I want to go ahead and tell you a ghost story of mine that happened, I believe, whenever I was probably 12 or 13 years old. And so I'm at my house, and at this time my parents, we'd moved into a house, probably hadn't been there for more than a year. It was new. I just actually moved with my dad, and I'm moving in here with my stepsister that my parents raised. It was me, my dad, my stepmom, my stepsister. All my other brothers and sisters lived with my mom, and then we had a cousin named Joey who lived there as well. I guess he had lived with his grandma for a while, and things weren't working out where him and his brother weren't getting along, so he moved in with us. And he lived there the whole time I lived there, so he's pretty much like a close sibling. And so we are all upstairs. There's a big downstairs. The living room actually is really high. Like, it raises the full 2 stories of the house because it's a 2-story house. And then upstairs, there's 3 bedrooms, which are all our bedrooms. And there's a like balcony loft that actually looks down into the living room. So that's how tall the living room is. You can look off the 2nd-story loft into the living room. And then my parents' room was down. They had the master bedroom downstairs, and like the kitchen was to the left. If I had any pictures, I'd show it to you. And so at this time, I think it might have been like a holiday, and my Oma was in town. And if you don't know what Oma means, that's German for grandma. She was in town, I believe, with one of my aunts. And so she's kind of a bigger set lady, heavy set lady. So we decided to let her sleep downstairs in the master bedroom. My parents were going to sleep in my stepsister's room. And then I was going to go ahead and sleep in my room, and my stepsister was just going to sleep with me. And so I was like, fine with that. Although me and my stepsister at the time, we had like our differences, and we didn't completely get along. Like, I think we had gotten in like a fist fight maybe not too long before this. So, you know, we were back and forth. We went to 2 different schools. Maybe not at that time. I think we went to the same middle school. We went to 2 different high schools. We lived 2 different lives. I don't know. We just, for some reason, we did not mesh well together. And it didn't like stay that way. We get along pretty well now, because obviously as you get older, you mature. But it kind of sucked because, you know, I wish we would have been closer, but family matters, things that happen, you just can't stop that. Anyway, she's staying in my room though. And she keeps having to go in and out of my room, and I don't understand why. I'm like, I guess she had to go to the restroom or whatnot, but she's in and out of my room, back and forth. I'm trying to sleep. I got the TV on, and I'm like, stop. I'm like, how many times do you got to go in and out of my room? At one point, I'm just going to lock you out. And she's like, well, I got to go get this, and I got to go get that, or I got to use the restroom. And I was like, all right, well, next time you go out, I'm not kidding, I'm gonna lock you out. And so she, like, it's not even 25 minutes later, she's got to go to the restroom, and I'm pretty much pissed off at this moment. And I was a very mean teenager, so I was like, all right, screw it. So I go and I lock the door, and I have like this big lock that like goes across my door, so there's no way she's getting in. I even hear her knock to come in, and it's late, it's in the middle of the night, so she's not going to go tell my parents, I know, because she's not going to wake them up. And we have like bean bags and stuff in the loft she can sleep on, so I'm just like, sleep in the loft. I don't care. I'm not letting you in. You're annoying me. And so I let her sleep in the loft, which was terrible. And when I think back on it, it was childish. And I totally don't even think about it. I go to sleep, and I probably wake up maybe like an hour or an hour and a half later, I believe. And keep in mind, me and my cousin Joey had been like big pricks towards her, and we always picked on her. We'd like throw her mattress off the balcony, and we would throw her stuff out the window into the backyard and stuff. We were just bad. We were terrible kids. We played pranks on each other. They'd put rotten eggs under my pillows. Like, it was kind of intense. But anyway, so I'm going out, and I've not heard from Joey all night. And so I know he's in his room. He fell asleep way earlier that night, and my parents are asleep. My Oma's asleep. I walk out of my room. I just had to use the restroom or something, and I go to the restroom, and I look at the bean bags, and from like the beanbag standpoint, I see my stepsister, and then I see what looks like a man laying down on the other beanbag, like they were beanbag to beanbag, and his head was touching her head, and it didn't look like anyone I'd ever seen before. But I was like, maybe that's my cousin Joey or something. But Joey had way different hair, like his head was shaved, this guy had like hair, but I was just like thinking I was seeing things. So I was like, whatever. And I go to the restroom. I have to do this whole detour through my parents' room because the restroom somehow ended up being locked. So I go, or not my parents' room, my stepsister's room, my parents are sleeping in. I go in there, I use the restroom, I come back out, and I do a double look, like, oh, maybe I was groggy. I do a double look. I still see it's like a black form. It looks almost different than my stepsister. And so I'm like, that's really weird. And I get kind of creeped out, and I go lay down in my bed, and I like think about it. Like, it literally, like, bothers me for, like, 30 minutes to know, like, who is that there? Maybe, you know, I probably should have been telling my parents. It could have just been, like, you know, a murderer. But who would be sitting there, like, laying, like, it was almost like a comforting, like, form. I don't even know how to explain it. And so I go to sleep, and I wake up the next morning, and so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to ask Joey. And I was like, Joey, why did you sleep on the loft last night? What were you doing sleeping in the loft last night? You know, I locked Summer out of the room or whatnot. And he was like, what are you talking about? I wasn't sleeping on the loft. I went to bed at like 10 last night. I never came back out of my room. And I was like, whoa. Like, that's like the moment that it like hit me that no, it couldn't have been him. It wasn't my dad, obviously, because I saw him sleep with my stepmom. And I just had like shock and chill go through my entire body. I'd never experienced anything like that in my entire life. And I went back and I thought about it, and it took me like a couple days to think about this. And my stepsister's dad actually died whenever she was like 7 or 8 years old. He got in a motorcycle accident, and he was killed. And so that was like really bad and trying times, but he was a really good dad, and he really cared about her. So like whenever I go back and I think about who that actually could have been, I know I saw a ghost. I'm completely positive. I know that looked nothing like anybody I ever knew in person. I'd never met her dad either, but I've seen pictures, and I went back and I looked at a picture, and it was just like same hair, same everything that like I imagined being there. So I feel like it might have been like her dad there, like comforting her because she was going through rough times. You know, she had lost him, and we were really mean to her. So it was kind of like a creepy moment for me. And I know that's such a weird story to put over Black Ops, but that probably makes Black Ops a little more entertaining. And that was one of my ghost stories. I have a couple others that I can bring to you. Maybe actually a few. I've lived in some, remember I said I moved a lot growing up? Well, I lived in some creepy houses, but that was probably the most like awestruck time for me. And that actually ends, concluding the end of this match where I went completely hamster, by the way. Probably a lot better at Call of Duty than I am at FIFA, but I just enjoy FIFA, and I enjoy doing FIFA commentary more. But if y'all have any ghost stories, yeah, I'd love to hear them. Maybe write them down below. Hopefully you enjoyed mine. Let me know what you thought about this video, and until next time, get Fang Bang, nerds.